Nick, great to see you again. For the audience, for them to give them a catch up on what's going on. For our previous interview, this is the copy that was written on the Twitter. So after launching his own pool service company, Nick was looking for ways to stand out from the competition. Using the business lessons taught inside the real world, he improved his social skills and made 50,000 in just 3 months. So that was quite an accomplishment for back then. And how has everything been since then?
It's been pretty great. This is the time of year where that industry kind of starts to slow down. So I've now that I finally got a minute to breathe, since last year was it was quite the scramble. I got some time to kind of get more organized, get it together, look back at everything that we screwed up last year, try to fix that before it becomes a problem this year. More proactive than reactive. I also have another company that I've been spending a lot of time on trying to catch that up. So it's, it doesn't stop just because the work slows down a little bit doesn't mean it stops.
Okay. New company. Did you mention that new company last interview?
I did.
Was it music
I did.
related?
Yeah. That one's more of a paid entertainment sort of thing. But yeah, that one's been doing a lot too.
You said pool service slowed down, but you're still doing it. What kind of improvements did you make? Maybe that will help someone who's a fairly new business owner to not make the same mistakes or know where to go from there.
Well, so last year, what I had done in the beginning of the year is I didn't have, a crazy amount of startup capital, anything like that. I did have a little bit of a credit line. I managed to schmooze my bank a little bit to help me use my personal credit to, bounce a small credit line off of my company. It was like $1,000, maybe, about $1,000. And I was using a little bit to try to buy, some chlorine, basic pool stuff. So basically what I would do is I would go out, clean a couple pools, make a little bit of money, and spend all of that money right back on the chemicals again. And it was just kind of, eventually it snowballs. It happens pretty quick, not even eventually. But this time, now I'm in a better position. So what I'm going to be doing this time is turning around. I know exactly how much of what I need to get started, rather than trying to look at something, go, oh, I need more. I have to come back later. It's not in a good spot. It's not on my route. It turns what could be a 6-hour day into 10, because now you have to go out of your way to go do something that, you could have done a little easier. It might sound a little complicated if you've never done it before, but when you deal with it every day, anybody who's dealt with a pool knows exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't put enough in, you're looking 2-3 days later, it's going to be green. So it's that sort of thing. But we were very much living like I would get paid by the customer, turn around, have to go buy more to deal with my next day of customers. So that's how we were working for a little bit. But now I have it in a better position where I know exactly what I need, and I can have that ready to go this year.
Right.
That was one of the biggest issues anyway.
So a random question.
Sure.
What actually makes the pool go green? And apart from something like chlorine, are there other things you can use to stop it from going bad, quote unquote?
Yeah. So first you have two main things. You have a chemical balance, and then you have sanitation. They're two totally different animals. Most people, when they see pool, they think chlorine makes my pool good, we're good to go. That's really not the case. You have to worry about the material that the shell is made out of, the actual balance of the water. You've heard of concepts like hard water, stuff like that. You're basically trying to find an equilibrium in the middle, and water is always trying to change. It's always trying to pull something from something else. But when it goes green, that's a sanitation issue. That's just organics. That's algae. It's something that's alive. It's plant matter that's trying to grow in your pool. It treats it like a pond, and it's trying to grow in there. When you hit it with chlorine, you're effectively poisoning it, killing it, and then you're just vacuuming it up. But if you keep your chlorine content high enough regularly, it really kind of can't grow. But, sunlight chews up chlorine, and algae loves sunlight. So you just have to be on top of it, and it stops it from doing that.
Okay. And I use this example because when I went to Mexico, there was a saltwater pool.
Mm-hmm.
And how are those maintained? Do those not go bad as frequently because of the salt, or how does it work?
Now, if everything is set up and tuned correctly, then yeah, it's a lot easier to deal with. But basically, and a lot of people don't, a lot of consumers don't really know, but a salt pool is a chlorine pool. The only difference is you have the generator on the pool in the system, rather, because when I walk around with a big jug of chlorine, what they've done is some facility, some factory somewhere has effectively done the same thing. They've used salt water. Salt is sodium chloride, sodium chlorine. What they're doing is they're using electrolysis to pull the sodium out, and you're left with a pure chlorine gas. There's nothing else in it. They mix it with water. Now you have a jug of chlorine. That's how bleach works. It's all the same stuff, just different concentrations. But all you're doing is you're putting the generator right in your pipes. You're putting it right in your pool system. So now it's injecting chlorine all the time. Whenever the pool is running, it's creating its own chlorine. You just have to tune it so that way it's not way too high and not too low. You want it to be just in the right spot, so you don't have to deal with that. So all I would do is I would show up, I would test it, make sure it's right, and then if it is, I just go about doing whatever else I got to do. Make sure there's enough salt in the pool, all that kind of stuff. You do have a target range. Rain will dilute it, that kind of stuff. You just keep an eye on it. But it's a lot easier than, especially for me, so I don't have to carry around, 5-gallon or would that be like 20-liter jugs around all the time for no reason.
So just to make sure I understood correctly, it still is salt, right? Or does the generator actually turn it into chlorine?
It is turning it into chlorine.
So, okay, so it's kind of a facade that, it's salt water, it's good for you. You're still going to have chlorine on your skin from it.
Yeah, it is a little different. It is a little bit different. It's kind of more pure. Like instead of me coming over and dumping what else could be in it, because you have like hypochlorite, which is mixed with calcium, or it could be cut with go away. It could be mixed with like stabilizer and some other stuff, cyanuric acid. It could have other things in with it because it can't really ride by itself. It needs, like when you see the white tablets, most of that is stabilizer. That is mostly, it's not cyanuric acid. Or it is cyanuric acid. I'm sorry. It's been a couple months since I've been out like actively like dealing with them. It is cyanuric acid, but that is like 60 to 65% cyanuric acid. So it's not as much chlorine as you think in that little tablet. But when you have this system on, it is actively converting it. It's breaking it down and basically injecting pure chlorine gas right into the water. So it is cleaner. Like you will feel a little softer. I like it more. I don't have it on my pool because it is a little expensive to set up, and I'm not in my pool enough for it to really matter. So I also use an entirely different sanitation system, basically like hydrogen peroxide. It's called Baquacil. It's a different setup, but basically I do it so I don't have to maintain my pool as much. The last thing I want to do after a 10-hour day is come home and deal with my own pool. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
But yeah.
Okay, so thank you for that lesson. Definitely learned some new things.
Yeah, it's a crash course. It's a lot.
Okay. And let's go more into your average day then. How have things changed? I think interview was back in September, if I remember correctly. Towards the end of September.
Was it
so
that long ago? Wow.
I think so. I'll need to double check.
That was fast.
History X. Huh, it doesn't show. There it is. Okay. Yeah, September 24th. Wow. So September,
Okay.
October, November, December, January. Almost like about 3.5 months.
Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah. So since then, average day, any differences?
Oh yeah. So I used to my schedule before I would get up in the morning. I had my calendar was already filled out. I knew where I had to be, what had to get done that day, just everything. And then after your closing season, after you close up a bunch of pools, that schedule goes it just disappears once you do that. So I had to like switch gears very quickly. I was used to just getting up and go, 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 and now there was nothing to get up and go do. And that was the hardest part, I think, for me, was trying to flip that around. I found myself like just pacing around the house. Like still had stuff to do, but I found myself just pacing around. I was getting like anxious because there was nothing. I was so used to just moving, and there was really nothing else to do like that. So
Right.
that definitely changed it. But yeah, working through that, I kind of started stacking my schedule up again in different ways. Found other things I needed to get done, other stuff that was falling behind. I put a lot of time toward the other company now just to start getting that one ahead rather than trying to keep up on that one. There's always something to do.
I want to zoom in a bit more on that answer
Sure.
because I think some people do struggle with that. They might have phases where it's super busy, so
Hmm.
every hour they know exactly what they're doing. But then at
Hmm.
some point that might ease off, and then they still have work to do, but it's more they can do it whenever they want, and there's no actual deadline on it. So maybe they start slacking or filling up the day with some more menial tasks, or maybe even
Hmm.
wasting time. So, what kind of advice would you give for getting back on a schedule or routine, or how did you overcome it?
I'd say the biggest mistake I made was letting my sleep schedule go. What I would do is I would stay up till 3, 4 in the morning. Now, that's not to say I still wasn't doing work, but it felt like even if you wake up at, noon, 1 in the afternoon, even though you're still getting what could be about the same amount of work done, it feels like you're not. So even if you're starting to wake up later, that's for me anyway. That's what that put me in a weird spot where nothing felt like I was getting enough done. So I started forcing my sleep schedule back to be correct. I started getting up, whatever, 7:38 in the morning. I started getting myself back up, early in the day again. I was trying to get my schedule for the next day ahead of time. That's a big deal. You don't want to get up in the morning and then go, all right, what do I need to do today? You already want it listed out. You want to know what you have to do. And I found that gets me done by like, I'll have that list done by 12:30, 1 in the afternoon now, when I would normally be getting up. And then I can still, I only keep myself up to like midnight, maybe 12:30 now. Then I do it all again next day. That definitely helps a lot. I have a big whiteboard. You can't see it from this angle. It's over on the other wall there, but it's huge. I have several lists. I try to categorize everything. I get like one, two, maybe 3 high priority things are the first thing when I make my schedule for the next day. They're the first things that go on there. Appointments, anything that I know I have to do right now. Any long processes that take multiple days to do, one chunk at a time. Because normally those ones have to wait on other people, whether it be government departments, things like vehicles, trying to make vehicles legal, that kind of stuff, paperwork, that stuff takes forever. So as soon as that ball is in your court, you want to deal with that as fast as possible. So then I stuff other things around that. What else can I realistically get done on top of that? And anything that I can't, which I normally don't have that problem, but anything I can't get to immediately rolls over into the next day. And then I build that schedule from there forward.
Okay. But yeah, a common theme. You need a schedule and a direction you're heading towards. You
Hmm.
can't just go off of what pops up during the day. Like actually have a
Yeah.
structure and then yeah,
Hmm.
head towards completing it.
Yep.
And now on a separate note, are you still using any lessons from HU? Or have you quote
Yeah.
unquote graduated?
No, no, not at all. I've keep meaning to like I want to do more of it, and I get it in every couple days or so. I can get a couple in. I do. It's starting to build up faster than I can keep up with it, and I don't like that. So I need to start putting more time into that. Because before, what I was doing is when I was driving a lot, I would hook it up to the car, and I could listen to it while I was driving. And then when I would stop, I could do the quizzes, start listening to more, now that I'm not in the car as much until about another month or two, I have to kind of like, get it in where I can. But as far as lessons from that, yeah, definitely. Because this business that I've been working on now, it's on an entirely different, it's in an entirely different industry. It doesn't work the same. In this instance, I have to try to set up contracts with a lot of these events. So we're doing a lot of like cold emailing, and that can be hard. It can be very difficult. So, some of those lessons I picked up from from some of those business mastery courses. You want to get them off the email and on the phone as fast as possible. That kind of stuff. So that's all been coming in. Things like marketing. That's all been a big deal now.
But were those lessons you had watched previously a while ago, or out of the new lessons that you're implementing?
A lot of them were from a while ago. Yeah, more recently, I've kind of been dipping into like the starter lessons for some of the other categories that I never really got time to check into. A lot of the AI stuff I've been getting into now. I do a bit of graphic work. I have some other guys that work with me that I do some graphic work with. So, we've been playing around a lot with that stuff. So that's been pretty wild.
And that's using Midjourney or other platforms?
I use some other platforms. I definitely want to use Midjourney. I tried Leonardo out for a bit. I ended up going into like Bing has an image creator that's based off of DALL-E, I believe. So I've been playing around a little bit with that. I want to play around with DALL-E too. I haven't had the time. Well, DALL-E 3 as well, but I haven't really had the time to go in and open that up because I've been more so dealing with like new people that we've hired. I just bought a small bus for helping us for traveling around to try to cut those costs down for this year. So I'm dealing with a lot of that clerical stuff right now and trying to catch everybody up. But yeah, that stuff I'm definitely trying to get more into Midjourney. I've only used it once or twice, but it definitely seems to react pretty well.
Okay, cool. And yeah, from what you've said over the past few months, it sounds like you're building a solid foundation to make sure you hit the ball running once season picks up again and really maximize on how much profit you can make.
Yeah. This year's I'm determined to make this year less of a scramble and more of a I just want to be able to work, turn around, go to the other one, work, come back, come to this one, work. And I wouldn't maximize as much time working as possible and less time screwing around and trying to fix things that I could be doing now. Trying to set up structures that make sense that I don't have to deal with later,
Okay, very solid. And I don't remember if I asked this during last interview, but what plans did you have before you joined HU? And were they different to what ended up happening now?
Sorry.
Okay.
Kinda. My plan was more so to get something working well enough, hire somebody else to handle it, and then I just wanted to go somewhere else. I just wanted to go. I live on the East Coast of the U.S., like the very not all the way northeast, but in New Jersey, it's pretty northeast, just under New York. I wanted to go more west, a little more southwest. A little more where nobody really kind of cares what you're doing. They kind of leave you alone. I was just trying to go out there, build a small house, and just have everybody, leave me alone, do whatever I wanted to do out there. I still kind of want to do that, but I definitely still want to do that. But I think I can do more with this than anybody I'm going to hire to do anything with this, at least for the time being. It's definitely not established enough to the point where I would do that yet. I would have to get it yeah, I definitely want to build it up more before I do anything like that. So that's going to take me a little bit more time to do that.
Okay, makes sense. And I don't know. It's an interesting. I don't know if you call it a paradox or what, but still having that goal of wanting a peaceful place somewhere, but first having to do a lot of work in order to achieve that. But I guess that's just normal. That's what retirement technically is. Like you work 60, 65 years, probably soon 70. So then retire
Hmm.
and then try have that peaceful life. But just in this case, it's accelerated to maybe working 5 to 10 years and then being able to retire.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
It definitely makes it makes it more worth it too, because now you're not. That was something I always hated that I couldn't put words to when I was working for somebody else. You would go clock in, wait. You're basically waiting for somebody to hand you a set amount of money that obviously you agreed to it, but like it's like drip feeding, and it just takes. You're basically waiting 60 years to do what you want to do, and
Right.
that
Yeah, it's insane.
it, it
It
just
just sounds
doesn't sit right.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
Mhm.
I can work a lot faster by myself, and I can do a lot better if we're looking at it that way. I can move a lot faster than that. And it's not even that I'm just looking to retire. I have a never-ending list of projects, interests, things that I want to do
Right.
that they require funding. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I'm not
okay.
cheap. The toys that I want are expensive. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
'Cause I was thinking that as well. When you actually end up retiring, how long does it take before you actually want to work again and get back on having that busy schedule and basically back to what you're doing now?
yeah,
Or maybe in your case, since you have all those hobbies, you'll that need will be filled by them. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah. I
think
will
it's
never run out of things to do.
okay. Cool.
Never.
Sounds good. And then yeah, since you're on this trajectory, then how are things? Is it still same goals from last time? If not, then please do lay them out. For short term, medium term, long term, what are the plans?
Let's see. Short term. Say short term. I only have about a month and a half to kind of really get everything organized the way that I want to, because I know what's going to happen. That phone is going to start ringing, and it's just going to be go. Wherever we are is wherever we are as far as being set up is concerned. It's just go. I have to get some vehicles ready. I have a pool truck I'm working on. I have like a band bus I'm working on that's carrying equipment that could be thousands of miles away. So I have to get. That's my short term, is getting that stuff ready, so that way this year I want to see what this year does. If we're looking into the term of about a year's length, I want to see how we're sitting this year versus the year that just happened. Because last year was a scramble, and I know I can do. If we're more organized, I think I can do a lot better than that. I would like to see it doubled, if possible.
Mhm. Doubled from last interview or doubled from now?
Doubled from about last interview was only about a month and a half off from when I kind of stopped or slowed down. I never stopped. I still have like a couple that I go take care of right now. They're like large hot tubs at like Airbnbs and stuff like that I take care of. So,
Mhm.
but they're hardly comparable. I'm there for 20 minutes. I get it done and I'm out. But I don't quite remember what I would have said my goals were, because I've been straight line. I just have everything written down that I'm working on.
How have you seen? I'm gonna use a word some people might not like, but how have
Okay.
you seen those goals manifested from previously? Like, because for me, and I know for some other people I've spoken to, let's say you write down a list of goals you want, let's say in a year, and then you forget about them, and at some point you
Hmm.
find it later and you read through it, and it's like, wow, I basically achieved everything I wrote down here without even realizing.
Um, I'm not really sure, because I don't. That's probably a flaw on my end. I don't really write down the long term ones. I just kind of I know what I need to be. It's not even effectively just being reactionary. A lot of what I'm doing is looking at problems that have existed, fix them real quick. and then I look at problems that could happen. And I kind of try to pivot myself in a position where those problems are no longer a potential problem. And I'm just kind of working from that angle right now to try to put myself in a position where I go, okay, cool, we're good here. Now what am I focused on? But I mean, always trying to increase whatever you did the year before is. I mean, I try to work daily if I can, but in this case, when you're working on, especially since I just did taxes and everything else, I'm thinking in a year scale, what I can do versus last year. Things like keeping track of mileage, all just stupid little things like that are going to help a ton. As far as long term, I haven't really written anything down. It's just mostly. Oh, I almost closed it
Accidentally
out.
press the button.
Yeah, I do it all the time. Yeah, no, I don't have anything too long term written down. I know what I need to do, so kind of just moving from there.
Sounds good. And any updates on the music that you're doing?
Yeah, yeah. We hired a couple people. We brought a new guitarist in because we had a whole issue with one of them last year. They kind of put us in a rough spot, but we got a new one in this year. We got somebody to manage social media to a point where he just sent me a report the other day where I was looking at it. I think he was saying each video that we're putting out now, like each just short clip, he understands all these platforms to an extent that I don't even care to dig into. He sent me a report the other day where each video we have is getting more views than we've ever had, which is like each video is getting more views than almost every video we had before combined. So it's exponentially like scaling up. The way I did some reflection on the way that we're operating versus other groups in our niche, especially in this area. There's sort of a I'm trying to think of the word. There's a stereotype that I've found to be very true. Where I've been doing this for about 20 years. I've done the whole bar scene thing. You show up, you get your buddies, you play in the garage, you go out to the bar, you make $5, and then you go home. I did it for a long time. A lot of people a lot of groups around here, they still kind of think that way. There's a certain mindset where they're not thinking about more long-term solutions, as to where we're almost using the music itself as marketing, as our promotion. We use that, and then we have everything else. We have the same thing other people have. We have t-shirts, we have hats, whatever. But I've seen it happen now where we've had our booth next to their booth, and I've watched the difference. Like, we sell way more than these other booths do, and it's not because our stuff it is better, but that's just me being biased. But a lot of it is what you're doing. A lot of them are doing this. As opposed to us, we're not doing that. We're up, we're looking you in the eye, hey, how you doing, as you're walking by, and it works way better. I think we looked at our finance sheet versus, I think we pulled more profit last year than we did every other year that we operated combined. So we're doing way better now than we've ever done.
Awesome, super good. And
Yeah.
is that your band name on the t-shirt? Nice.
Yep, that's actually purely coincidental. I didn't even that product placement couldn't be better either, huh?
Yeah, looks good.
That's awesome.
Nice. Okay, super cool. And yeah, I guess for catch up, that's pretty much everything. So the heavy hitting interview will be once we do the next follow up, once we're in season and the fruits of your labor are showing from everything
Oh
you
yeah.
set up now. Cool. Okay, so
Yeah.
to end off, pardon?
I
Oh, cool.
nothing.
So to end off, I might have asked this last time as well, but just to reiterate, for people who are unsure about joining HU because they think they might get scammed for $50, what advice would you have to them?
Um, it's probably similar to what I said last time. I'm not 100% what I said last time. Just probably something along the lines of just do it. You know what I've seen you waste $50 on there. I don't even remember how much it is now. I just leave it on auto pay and I and I walk away from it. But I've seen people waste more money on dumber things. What are you gonna lose? You know, just just do it. Kick it on. Watch it for a bit. Things will start to click. It'll make sense. If it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know whether that's something wrong with you or, but I don't know. It worked for me just fine. So
Yeah, cool. And yeah, still 50. Just to mention. And yeah, if people want to find out more about you or contact you, why can they do so?
right now, the easiest way to get a hold of me is going to be through this company website that is contact at superthrashbros.com, or you can just go to superthrashbros.com and there is a contact button and you can just type your thing right out and just hit submit and go. So
Cool.
that's going to be the easiest way to get a hold of me.
All right. So we'll add that to the description of the video. Yeah, Nick,
Cool.
great to speak to you again. Nice catch up. Yeah, look forward to the next one because that I'm sure will be quite a big one.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
Awesome.
I'm
So
excited.
all the best to you until then.
Thank you.